The card at the bottom of the deck is the Ace of Ghosts. And the Ace of Ghosts is about the beginning of new love, spirit, emotional happiness, fulfillment, success. It's a really, really positive card. A lot of times the Ace of Ghosts can also indicate self-love, like filling up your own cup before you bring on the partnership with someone else. But it can also be an offer of love from someone else coming in. So it just depends, these are general readings, so be careful to take it as it resonates. For some, you're offered a new love offering. That's redundant. Okay, you're offered new love coming in. For others, it's about learning how to take care of yourself, learning the art of self-care, self-respect, taking care of your own needs, and finding fulfillment for yourself through yourself and your own deeds, and living consistently with who you are and what your soul purpose is, right? Not relying on other people to fill up the cup for you, right? Okay. Now, Five of Pumpkins. This is that sense of being left out in the cold, not losing your candy in a sense, and yet having to move on without it, right? Having to leave something that you cared about behind and feeling that sense of loss or disappointment because of it. But be very careful, because there's other beautiful opportunities like the stained glass window that are opportunities for us to really become aware of the beauty that is in the world. That's part of this Ace of Ghosts energy, is that sometimes we have to let go of those things. We of course, we can't just pretend that we don't feel pain or loss. We have to release that. And sometimes that does mean through tears and suffering and talking to our friends about our pain and letting that out. But in order to release that, we still have to go through that. But then we have to be willing to begin to look around and find the beauty that remains in the world in order to really access this and fill up the cup. Crossing you is the Ten of Bats in the reverse. Now, this is serious pain, often brought on by somebody else, that feeling of emotional overwhelm. In the reverse position, you're coming out of that energy. You're leaving that behind. You're turning a corner. This sense of disappointment and loss is very soon to be in your past tense if it is not already. Crowning you, this is what you're thinking, what's on your mind. You're hoping for some kind of victory in something. You're hoping for a victory. You want success, of course, right? And beneath you is the Eight of Ghosts. A ghost is a cups, that's water. This is about moving on, moving away from something, leaving something that you have loved behind. It's very similar in a way to this Five of Pentacles energy, Five of Pumpkins, because you're leaving something behind in both of these situations. But here you're being dragged beyond it. It's not your choice here. What happened to you wasn't your choice. This is kind of a shift because you're voluntarily walking away of your own accord. Your ghost friends are worried. They're not sure what's going on. The moon's kind of concerned about what you're doing. But you have to move on from here and see greener pastures. This is where the child turns away from the spilled candy and squares his shoulders forward and begins to take on the direction and the pace of the person in the devil costume. On their own will, on their own steam. So there's something that you're leaving behind, and the reason that you're doing it is because you want to walk out of your pain. You're sick of it. You're sick of it. You want to pursue this new beginning, this fresh start, this love. You want that, and you know that you have to leave behind toxic energies. Now, behind you is the Queen of Bats. The Queen of Bats possibly could be an air sign, like a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius person. This is a smart person, intellectually savvy. Sometimes can be cold depending on, their energy, but very logical, sometimes a guarded person, you'll note that even though she's got one hand open, it's a very open gesture. She's also got the sword raised as she's trying to figure out, what do I do with this bat? Do I welcome him in with open arms, or do I, have to protect and defend myself against this coming in here? But sometimes that can be about a cutting out, a cutting away energy. That could be what this is. You could be cutting a person out of your life, possibly Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. Excuse me. Or this is you in here who's deciding to cut out whatever that energy was that you had to leave behind. Right? Before you, we see this Knight of Imps. Imps energy is fire energy. That's Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, potentially. And very fast-moving energy, could be very passionate, could be passion put into action. So it could be about a new business, a new relationship, and so on. I think for some of you, this possibly could be relationship type energy. But I think it has more to do with the relationship with yourself and really building that up. This is about becoming passionate about your life. Again, filling your own cup. But for some of you, you may have an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius coming into your life. Maybe you're leaving behind an air sign. And in leaving behind this air sign, you're going to see that this fire sign comes in. You have a fire sign. Possibly younger. The card representing you is the Devil in reverse. This is good. The Devil in reverse has to do with codependency. It has to do with addiction. It has to do with the things that we voluntarily enslave ourselves to. And if you'll notice, these young children or imps or whatever they are, they have collars on that attach them to this devil. But the collars are big. They could easily slip them over their heads and move on. But they choose not to for some reason, even though they look at the devil with some level of trepidation, concern, consternation, fear. Now, in the reverse, this is about leaving that behind you, deciding not to be trapped in a situation, hauling this ass away from whatever is keeping you bound and stuck. And if that's a person that you've been involved in an unhealthy relationship with, this is your decision to move on. Or if this is a job or vocational experience, it could be that you've decided to leave your fears behind and walk away from them so that you can manifest your positive new beginnings. Because your environment card's the Page of Pumpkins. And pumpkins could be Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, a younger person. But a lot of times the page represents the building of something material, like a company, a business, a house, a home, a relationship, where you like it's a tangible offer in a relationship, not just some, they're going to pretend to love me and, be, but they've got somebody else at home. They're married to somebody else, but they're pretending. No, this is actually a solid offer, a solid foundation. Could be information coming in about a business situation, such as a job offer, that sort of thing. Or it could be, that somebody loves you or wants to build a life with you. Something real. And given this Knight of Imps energy, it's not somebody who's making a false promise or a false start. They really want something. Then again, if it's a business, it's about putting your idea into action. Something that you feel passionate about and getting in there and doing all the material stuff. I just finished the website. My passion is doing tarot readings and Reiki sessions and really helping people in that way. And having done this website business, that really is what it's about. It's about getting into the dirty detail work and doing some of that. It's not enough to wish for something to happen. You actually have to, you study it, you learn it, but then you have to get your hands into it. Now, hopes and fears. The hopes and fears, King of Bats. I'm reminded of the Queen of Bats right over here. The one in the past tense. It could be that this person, this air sign, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, is somebody that you were hoping for. There may be still some kind of a lingering hope that it's going to work out with that person, even as you know good and well that you have to leave that. If this person was cold to you, that could be what you're hoping for. You're hoping for a passionate victory with that Queen of Bats energy. But there's a part of you that good and well knows that that's something that you have to leave behind. You can't, it's kind of like when we pray for a soulmate relationship. We can't pray for person X or put out energy. Technically we can, but it's best not to ask for a specific person, to be your life partner or to marry you or what have you. It's best to ask Spirit for the right fit for you and let Spirit provide that person. And then be open to that option when he or she comes to you, right? Now, judgment. The judgment card is different from the justice card. This is about learning your lesson and rising anew. This is about the devil in reverse. This is about saying, I've learned my karmic lesson and I'm ready to turn a new leaf. I'm ready to leave the old behind me and move on in my new voyage. And this ties very beautifully with this Eight of Ghosts energy. But Eight of Ghosts, there's still that sadness and that loss that we feel when we Eight of Cups, that situation. With the judgment, it's like we finally get beyond the mourning phase, which, again, this has this 10 of bats over here. We get beyond the mourning and the disappointment of the 5 of pumpkins and the 10 of bats in reverse, and we begin to feel the rise of our passion again. These are our outcome cards, our future and our final outcome for this phase, this period of time. And we get to the judgment, we get to the Knight of Imps, and our passion for our life comes back because we've left our karmic, unhealthy, codependent, addiction type binds and bonds and all the rest of that behind us. That's where we get to this resurgence of joy. This is why the Ace of Ghosts is here. Because sometimes we have to realize that our life is so much bigger than we can envision it. And we have to entrust and take that. I'm thinking of the Fool card. We kind of have to take that blind leap of faith and say, Spirit knows better than we do, because our vision is so limited, because we see with physical eyes. They see with spiritual eyes. They see levels above and beyond our ability to see it. We need to power up. We need to go macro here in order to really understand some of these. And again, we may never get to that seriously clear vision, but we can certainly stop being in our own way. And this devil energy that we're coming out of has been us in our own way. That's what has slowed down this Ace of Ghosts energy. But now we're beginning to see it and we're beginning to experience it. So with that said, let me pull a card for us, an oracle card. Right now I'm working with the Alice in Wonderland oracle cards by Lucy Cavendish. All right. We actually had like 3 turn up, but I don't, there's no way I have time for that right now. So well, shoot, there's 5 there. All right. Well, this was the one that really jumped out and was landing on top. So I try not to influence that, but just to let it spontaneously come forward. But this card is falling. It's the unknown, descent, momentum, and change. I wonder if I shall fall right through the earth. You are presently experiencing a time of descent. You are in between worlds, yet to land, yet to know what will come next. Yet to feel the impact of the inevitable moment when your feet touch the earth again. At present, it is natural to feel doubt, discouragement, nerves, and even fear. You have leapt, now you must fall. See, that leaping, now that makes me think of that, the Fool card again. You have leapt, now you must fall. Soon you shall land, but first comes the descent. You have launched yourself into the unknown, taken a risk, dared to follow your instinct without the thought and consideration that would have seen you miss the chance that will come to you. But right now you are completely within the process of descent. You may have allowed yourself to let go of people, places, objects, roles, or way of being. Oh, that's this 8 of Ghosts right here. Letting go of that. You may have allowed yourself to let go of people, places, objects, roles, or ways of being. It could be that a relationship, a type of career, or the routine you once had is now in flux. Something has unraveled and you are moving into a different part of your destiny. Ooh-wee. That's like the judgment card over there. A fall can be accompanied by disillusionment, a sense something is being broken, a shattering of beliefs and perspectives, and the inability to know what will come next. You may wonder, just like Alice, whether you will fall right through the earth. In other words, will everything in your world end? Will you simply keep falling with no end at all? It will end. There will be a new place and a fresh way of being to explore. I really have to pull this card right now, because it just, man, it fits. It will end. There will be a new place and a fresh way of being to explore. That's what this judgment's about. For now, surrender to the descent into the passageway to the next life. The fall is the moment before rebirth. That's what this is, that rise right there, right? Rebirth. The best possible response is to relax into the fall, observe and wonder at what is to come. Know this was the only way through to the next stage of your evolution, the entrance to your own wonderland. There is no new discovery without descent, without relinquishing some of who you were. This is the way you will become who you are next meant to be. In divination, this card indicates the in-between, the end of what once was, the letting go of who you were and rebirth into a new life, unknown outcomes, complete immersion in the process of change. And that's really what this reading feels like. You're letting go of something that you've held on to for so long that it's become just this nasty habit that you haven't been able to see beyond it. But falling is having the faith that there's going to be something even better on the other side. Something even better on the other side. And trusting in that process. You know, that was one of the other cards that fell out just now, was the trust card.